What up, y'all? What's good? Welcome to the show. It's your boy No Game Feeve. Me in the building, smoking mirrors. When you tired of being gassed. Tonight's show is sponsored by Fear No One. Fear No One Apparel. Follow them on Instagram at Fear No One Apparel. Use the promo code No Game. Save 10% off. It's also sponsored by Get Money University at GMNU brand. GMNU brand or GMU brand. I think it's GMU brand. Follow them. Promo code No Game. Little 10% off. But we gonna dig right into this story because this story is a real life story and it's personal. And the reason why I say it's personal because it happened to a family member of mine. May he rest in peace. As you know, the caption above says 3 years ago, my brother was murdered by police. And we're going to get into this. And currently, right now, I'm facing some legal situations. So I'm only speaking on matters that's of public interest. And it's a public matter. My brother's murder was a public matter. Just so happens it was by a member of law enforcement. But what I have actual proof in contradiction to everything that was stated by the accused, who was exonerated 4 months after my brother was murdered. And the matters that I'm discussing right now are public matters. And I did a little research thanks to Google. I did a little research, and once you type in my brother's name, Kamal Flowers, everything comes up. You'll see me, you'll see alleged allegations made by the people against me saying that I'm threatening people, but that's not the case. The reason why I'm going through legal situations is because I found this public information that was posted. So you have to be careful sometimes because what you do, and if you don't have a solid standing, then you're going to just go with anything. But if you have solid proof, then you can prove anything. I sat back and watched people talk about how my brother was this, my brother was that, my brother was this, my brother aimed the weapon as an officer attempted to fire. He put a clip in the gun. He cocked it back. And he went to attempt to fire, but the gun didn't fire. All in the midst of tussling with an officer. But before all that, the officer said he used a taser. The first initial statement was that a taser was used to try and subdue my brother, but then it was ineffective. That was in the second story. They give you only certain amount of footage and narratives to paint because the media is the most powerful thing in this country, in this world. And this public information and this public matter that's of public interest, which means my First Amendment right can be exercised, and I can criticize, and I can comment, and I can give my own personal opinion on certain things, right? And I'm going to give you a brief rundown. It's June 5th, 2020. Between the hours of 10:30 and 11 o'clock, 10:30 and 11:30. Let's just put it that way. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Let's just put it between that way. Between the hours of 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, my brother was in a vehicle that was pulled over because the vehicle was called in as being a suspicious vehicle and has been riding through the neighborhood consistently. Mind you, the driver of the vehicle has been harassed, or whatever he wants to call it, allegedly harassed by the police. They're stating things They're stopping him. Nobody knows what's going on. A call comes in about the vehicle my brother's in being a suspicious vehicle. First and foremost, the call came in and information was relayed where some information was wrong. And it started a misleading trace of gentleman who was just out in the neighborhood enjoying the night, eating food, having drinks. He was having a little block get together. It was a community day. I was feeding the neighborhood. This is me, I'm talking. I was feeding the neighborhood out my own pocket, pull out the grill, cook food, go to the supermarket, cook food for the whole neighborhood, feed families, people who didn't have nothing to eat, just regular people who was out there hanging out, clean the neighborhood. Everybody's enjoying community day. Mind you, it happened the whole summer, but this particular day, we was all outside. Um, Before my brother got pulled over, he was outside in the neighborhood, gave up some money so everybody can eat, gave the little kids money so they could go in the store. He was just feeling good that evening. He gets in the car with his friend. I'm not going to use names because I don't want to be held accountable for using names, so I'm going to just give you the scenarios of the story. He's in the car with his friend. They leave. Mind you, they somewhere around the corner up the street. They stop near this local business. And as they're at the light in the car, the officers pull up next to him, looking at him, blah, blah, blah. Now, if this car was called and it was called about suspicious activity or if it was a confusing vehicle, when the police officers had the opportunity to pull that car over right then and there at that stoplight, it didn't happen. What happened was the car my brother was in was allowed to drive off. Police got behind them, followed them for a long distance up into the point where they get over by Sharrod and Pierce. That's over there by Bud Flowers Field City Park, you know. If you ain't familiar, that's New Rochelle's off of Fifth Avenue, but it's not on Fifth Avenue. Sharrod and Pierce is like coming out of a little boulevard area. Car gets pulled over. My brother just came home from prison 2 weeks ago, maybe about a month, give or take. Gets out and runs in fear. Officers get out, chase him. Video shows that they released to the people, and the video that was released to the press is that my brother and them was running from the police, and both cops chased him. And he tried to get away. So excuse me. He chased my brother. It shows you the video. My brother's running away. My brother slips and falls to the ground. His pants is below his butt, so he's 6'4" and change. So he's running and his pants is below his butt, like near his knees. So he trips up and he falls. He gets right back up. He runs into the street. He's ducking in the street. He cringes up like he's been hit with something, and he runs away. And next thing you know, he falls to the ground. And after he falls to the ground, multiple shots are being fired. But in that whole process, what was being told is that my brother had drew a weapon, inserted a clip, cocked the weapon back to fully load the weapon, and attempted to fire. How could you do all that when you're running? What I have what I have right now in my hand is the officer's statement through the words of his attorney. That right there is the statement. And I'm going to read it to you. That right there is the statement. I'm going to read it to you. At that time, my brother was holding his waistband as he stumbled on the sidewalk on Sharrett. As the officer caught up, the officer took out his stun gun, figuring he'd get it close enough to stop my brother with it, his lawyer says. My brother then ran into the street and tried to sidestep the officer, and the Ruger fell to the ground. My brother picked it up, holding it to his waist, as the officer says he got a gun. The officer fired his taser twice at my brother, who fell to the ground. As McKenna, excuse my French, as the officer approached Flowers, pointed the Ruger and pulled the trigger, but the gun did not fire. The lawyer said the officer dropped his radio and stun gun and started to back away from my brother as he fell. No, tried to back away from my brother, but fell to the ground himself. My brother continued to point the gun in which was shaking, so the officer believed he was about to fire. The officer at that point got to his knees and pulled out his gun, yelling, "Don't do it, don't do it." His lawyer said my brother slapped the bottom of the gun, slid the rack, and pointed it again at the officer, who fired 6 shots, hitting my brother twice. Watch the video now. You heard what I said, right? Watch. The video's going to play. The video's going to play. Video's going to play. There you go. Now here's your chase. Here's your chase. Watch the chase. When my brother falls to the ground, you're going to see him get... Watch. One, two. Where did the Ruger fall? Where did my brother pick a gun up? My brother got shot right there. Now, the officer said, right, the only time you see the officer, right? The only time you seen the officer drop to his knees is when he wanted to get position to fire on my brother. Where did the gun fall? Hold on. I'm going to show you something. Give you a better view. Let's go and talk. I'm not even going to say nothing. I'm just going to talk. I'm going to just let this do the talking, right? Let's see if y'all can see that. I'm going to let this do the talking, right? Y'all can see that? All right. Talk about this. I want you to share this with your people. Welcome. Good morning. This is a serious topic that we're elaborating on. We're elaborating on the death of my brother, the murder of my brother Kamal Flowers, and the officer Alec McKenna has been completely exonerated from all situations. But me doing my due diligence, once you put out a murder charge on somebody, no matter if you found not guilty, you're exonerated. There's no statute of limitations on murder. And we didn't go for intentional murder. The family didn't want intentional murder. The family wanted second-degree murder or manslaughter at the most. But right now, I'm about to play the footage. That's going to show my brother being murdered. Pay attention closely to the top part of the screen. Up here. Which is up here. Above the lights. You see the lights right now? Right up here. Sidewalk right behind that. Pay attention to the right up there. Right up there. And we're going to get this going right now for you so you can actually see how my brother was walked down like an animal. Pay attention. All up in here, you're going to see my brother getting chased. You're going to see flashes of a muzzle flashes from a gun. Pay attention and count them. Pay attention. See, that's one. That's two. That's three. My brother's being shot at. Look, he's ducking and dodging bullets. See? The officer's shooting. Where's your taser? Where did the gun fall? He's walking him down. Shot him. That's a flash. That's 4, 5, 6. He's on his knees now. 7. He shoots 3 more times after he's there. Another flash. Look, like, how is that not murder? Where's the tussle? I'm going to run it back for y'all just in case y'all didn't see it. Pay close attention now. You're going to see the muzzle flashes. Count the muzzle flashes. When you see them. 1, 2, 3. My brother's in the street running away from being shot at. He's dodging bullets. Look, shot in the groin. He's walking him down with the pistol. Flash. Flash. You saw the video. That's right. That's right, Philip. That's right, Philip. You's a liar. You's a liar. Your relative was a person who preyed on people. Your relative told a whole lie. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm always up for the let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, let's read this again. Holding his waistband as he stumbled to the sidewalk on Sharrett. As the officer caught up, the officer took out his stun gun, right? The officer took out his stun gun. Right. Hold on. Hold on. We're going to talk about it right now. Talk about it right now. Let's talk about it. The officer thought he had a gun. He can't do nothing but lie after the fact. As the officer caught up, the officer took out his stun gun, figuring he'd get close enough to stop my brother with it. His lawyer said, my brother then ran into the street, tried to sidestep the officer, and the Ruger fell to the ground. You saw the video. Where did the Ruger fall? Where did the Ruger fall? Oh, by the way, they tried to take it off my YouTube page. I can't find it on my YouTube page. Thank God I downloaded it and saved it. They're trying anything. My brother then ran into the streets, tried to sidestep the officer, and the Ruger fell to the ground. Lie. My brother picked it up. Lie. Holding it to his waist. Lie. As the officer radio, he's got a gun. That's the only true thing in that statement. He radioed it in because I have the audio too. The officer fired his taser twice at my brother. Lie, because there wasn't no taser hole, no taser punctures or nothing. So that's why they lied and said that the taser was ineffective. But in this statement, it says the officer fired his taser twice at Flowers, who fell to the ground. If the taser was ineffective, how could my brother get hit with the taser and fall to the ground? Can we talk? Can we talk, Philip? If my brother was hit with a taser twice and fell to the ground, why he didn't have no holes in his body from the taser? He had 2 holes in him, all right. One in his groin when he was in the street and he stood up like he was on his toes. That's when he got shot first. Then the second shot is the one that killed him, that went through his side and pierced his heart. Where's the taser holes or the taser punctures from the taser that it says from his lawyer, the officer who was exonerated for killing my brother gave a statement through his lawyer. And it says that my brother was hit with a taser twice and fell to the ground. But the news articles are saying that the taser was ineffective. The press conference that they had said the taser was ineffective. Which story is it? The officer fired his taser at my brother twice, who fell to the ground. As the officer approached him, my brother pointed the Ruger and pulled the trigger. Lies. But the gun did not fire. There was no gun. That gun that they found was planted. There was no gun. I've been trying to get the Westchester County criminal investigator to hook me to the lie detector test that I can prove that Kamal didn't have no gun on him. My brother pointed the Ruger and pulled the trigger, but the gun did not fire. The lawyer said the officer dropped his radio and the stun gun and started to back away from Flowers, but fell to the ground himself. Why is this officer not saying that he had his gun out the whole time? You didn't have no taser. You had your gun out the whole time. A taser doesn't let off that many flashes. Nah, bro. Then he says, my brother then continued pointing the gun, which was shaking, so the officer believed he was about to fire again. Lies. The officer at that point got to his knees and pulled out his gun, yelling, "Don't do it. Don't do it." I'll read it again. Holding his waistband as he stumbled to the sidewalk on Sharrett, as the officer caught up, the officer took out his stun gun, figuring he'd get close enough to stop Kamal Flowers with it, Quinn says. Flowers then ran into the street and tried to sidestep the officer, and the Ruger fell to the ground. Flowers picked it up, holding it to his waist as the officer yells, he radios, he has a gun, he has a gun. That's the same thing they used. I ain't gonna talk about it. The officer fired his taser twice at Flowers, who fell to the ground. As the officer approached him, Flowers pointed the Ruger and pulled the trigger, but the gun did not fire, Quinn said. Quinn said the officer dropped his radio and the stun gun and started to back away from Flowers, but fell to the ground himself. Flowers then pointing the gun, which was shaking, so the officer believed he was about to fire again. The officer at that point got to his knees and pulled out his gun, yelling, "Don't do it, don't do it." Quinn says Flowers then slapped the bottom of the gun, slid the rack, and pointed again at the officer, who fired 6 shots, hitting Flowers twice. Topic that we're elaborating on. We're elaborating on the death of my brother, the murder of my brother Kamal Flowers. And the officer, just watch, McKenna, has been completely exonerated from all situations. But me doing my due diligence, once you put out a murder charge on somebody, no matter if you found not guilty, you're exonerated. There's no statute of limitations on murder. And we didn't go for intentional murder. The family didn't want intentional murder. Pay attention, y'all. Second degree murder or manslaughter at the most. But right now, I'm about to play the footage. That's going to show. Taser gun don't let off this many flashes. Pay attention closely to And watch when my brother run into the street. Tell me what the officer is doing. He has to have his gun out the whole time. All up in here, you're gonna see my brother getting chased. You're gonna see flashes of a muzzle flashes from a gun, not a taser. Pay attention. See, that's one. That's two. That's three. My brother's being shot at. Look, he's ducking and dodging bullets. See? The officer's shooting. Where's your taser? That's not a taser. He's walking him down. The officer said he had his taser out, right? Now, at one point in time, did he tell y'all he had his gun out the whole time? The flashes are from a gun that's fired multiple times. Taser don't give off all them flashes. And why didn't you say you had your gun drawn? You pull a car over on a dark street, right? You being who you are, you're gonna get out with a taser in a car that looks suspicious. No officer does that. I could pull up that proof too. But I'm gonna let you continue to lie. Pay attention. Pay attention. All up in here, you're gonna see my brother getting chased. You're gonna see flashes of a muzzle flashes from a gun, not a taser. Pay attention. See, that's one. That's two. That's three. My brother's being shot at. Look, he's ducking and dodging bullets. See? The officer's shooting. Where's your taser? That's not a taser. He's walking him down. Shot him. That's a flash. That's 4, 5, 6. He's on his knees now. 7. He shoots 3 more. The thing that kills me is that the last bullet skips off the ground. The officer's on his knees in a trained shooting position. The officer said he chased my brother. My brother sidestepped into the street. A Ruger fell. He picked it up, put it back on his waist. The officer didn't tell y'all he was on my brother's back the whole time. He told y'all that he the way he made it seem is like he had some type of distance, and then he backed away and then dropped his radio and his stun gun, and he did all that, right? And then as he started to approach my brother, he says my brother throws the clip in the gun, slides the rack back, and attempts, and he's pointing the gun, shaking at the officer. And at that time, the officer's telling him, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, right? Then he drops his stun gun, and then he drops his radio, and he fires 6 shots. How did you get your gun out that fast? The video that I have shows that officer was chasing my brother with his gun out, and he was firing at my brother as my brother was running away from him. My brother, he shot in the directions of my brother. That's what made my brother sidestep into the street, because he heard one of them bullets whistle by his head, and it didn't hit him. And that officer was gunning to kill my brother, which he did. But the way he's painting it is a lie, because you gave a statement through your lawyer. After you get exonerated, you talk to the press where you went wrong, because you didn't even remember the whole story that you told the first time, the night of June 5th, the morning of June 6th. Because when you got exonerated, you told a whole totally different story, and I just proved that you murdered my brother in cold blood, and they lied and covered it. And right now, I'm facing some charges of it because I'm doing what I'm doing right now, which is talking about it. This guy, Philip McKenna, thinks he know me. He don't know me. He's probably related to the officer who murdered my brother. They tried to have me arrested and locked up, saying that I'm harassing and threatening this man. But the only thing I'm doing is speaking on the matter of public interest, which means my First Amendment right is being exercised, which means I could criticize and break down this lie that's been painted and covered for the last 3 years and change. I just proved to you that my brother was murdered in cold blood. Officer lied and said, holding his waistband as he stumbled on the sidewalk of Sharrett. As the officer caught up, the officer took out his stun gun. That's a lie. The first parts of the beginning of the video shows 3+ muzzle flashes. He figured he'd get close enough to stop Flowers with it. Then Flowers ran into the street and tried to sidestep the officer because the officer was shooting at his head. A Ruger falls to the ground. In the video that I just showed you, no Ruger fell to the ground. My brother did not pick no gun up. Flowers picked it up, holding it to his waist. As the officer radioed, he got a gun. The officer fired his taser twice, which he never had in his hand to begin with. He just said he figured he'd get close enough to try and stop my brother with his taser. He never had a taser. The officer fired his taser twice at Flowers, who fell to the ground. Now, if you fired a taser twice at my brother, he's high yellow. So if you fired a taser at my brother twice and he fell to the ground, that means the tasers punctured my brother to where he gets the shock to where he falls to the ground. When my family went to go view the body, my brother did not have no puncture marks or no burn patterns on his body from no taser. So that's a lie. I'm going to break down the whole lie. Breaking down the whole lie is so easy. No puncture marks, no burn patterns from the taser that the officer said he fired twice at my brother, and my brother fell to the ground. Now, as the officer's approaching him, my brother's pointing the gun at him and pulled the trigger. How? The video I showed shows the officer pursuing my brother the whole time. He had no taser. Was the only time my brother fell to the ground was when he caught that shot that killed him. The only time my brother fell to the ground was at the end of the video. As the officer approached him, he pointed the Ruger and pulled the trigger, but the gun did not fire. Lawyer says the officer dropped his radio and stun gun and started to get back away from Flowers as he fell to the ground himself. So the officer is saying that after he shot my brother with the taser and he fell to the ground, he approached my brother. My brother pointed a gun at him. And he drops, this is where the officer says he drops his radio and stun gun and started to back away from my brother, but fell to the ground himself. Was that before or after the first, or second, or third, or fourth, or fifth shot that you was firing at my brother chasing him? Was it after the sixth shot that dropped him? Because that's the only time you backed away. You backed away and you didn't fall on the ground. You backed away and got to your knees and pointed the gun at my brother in a distance like he was a target, like you was shooting at targets practice, like you was at the firing range. I have the proof right here. And no matter what you try to do, it's saved and it's put in places to where it's sent to people and you can't get rid of this footage. Went through my Facebook, YouTube, following me all over my socials. And this is why I'm exercising my First Amendment rights, because you're following me and you're trying to shut me up and intimidate me. But I'm protected by the First Amendment. Let's continue. This is public record and public matter. This is the words of the officer from his attorney. His attorney speaking for him. This is the attorney didn't know what was going on. This is a diagrammed and detailed statement of what supposedly happened, which was lies. The lawyer, Quinn, says the officer dropped his radio and the stun gun and started to back away from Flowers, but fell to the ground himself. Flowers then continued pointing the gun, which was shaking, so the officer believed he's about to fire again. The officer at that point got to his knees, pulled his gun, yelling, "Don't do it, don't do it." How could you, that whole time you saying you didn't have your gun in your hand until you approached him, and then he was shaking, pointing the pistol at you, and you backing away slowly, you drop your stun gun and your radio, and you pull your weapon. But the video shows that you was firing at my brother. Where's the discharge logbook? Because an officer who fires his weapon in the line of duty has to document it. That wasn't presented in the court. The family attorneys didn't get a look at that. Courtesy of Robert Cox, he put pressure on the officers to release the disciplinary actions and reviews and records of these officers. And this officer was already aggressive with people, liking to draw his weapon on people. 2 other black kids was not victims of getting killed, but victims of the police brutality. I'm facing 11 charges right now for speaking on this, and the officer claims that he's in fear of his life. You in fear of your life for somebody exercising the First Amendment right? Isn't that a constitutional right? Or y'all trying to say that black people don't have rights in this country? Is that what you trying to say, Philip? Because you keep trying to cast me out to be this bad person. You know I could sue you for slander. You know I could sue you for slander. The devil don't feed his community. The devil don't give back stuff to the less fortunate. The devil don't give back coats to the people who's less fortunate during coat season and wintertime. Go to my neighborhood and ask about me, Philip. Or you scared to come over there? Come over there. You could come over there and have some dialogue. I'm not that type of person that won't hear what you got to say. The question is, will you hear what I got to say? Because I could show you some things, Philip McKenna, that probably give you a different view on certain things. If I show you this in the video, the statement and the video, if I show it to you personally, right in your face, you could bring whoever you want to bring with you. If it makes you feel safe, I would just want to show you the proof that I have. Excuse me. Maybe you stop saying I'm the devil. The devil don't feed his community out his own pocket. The devil takes. I'm not gonna admit and say I'm an angel. I did affect my community negatively, but I woke up and I became a pillar in my community. That's something that you probably might be mad at, Mr. McKenna. You mad at the fact that I done became somebody that you didn't want me to be, and I'm taking care of people that you didn't want to take. You didn't want to see nobody take care of them. But you come up on my page and you slander me. My mom said, "Oh, promotion is good promotion. You worry about when they stop talking about you." But I know right here, I know right here, right? Right here, right? Right here contradicts everything. Which is up lights? You see the lights right now? It's a sidewalk right behind that. Pay attention. Mind you, the officer said my brother was holding his waistband. He ran into the street. A Ruger falls. He picks up the Ruger. The officer says he has his radio and his stun gun in his hand at the time. He says my brother falls to the ground after he receives 2 shots from a taser, which is a lie because there wasn't no proof that my brother was hit by a taser when we went and viewed the body. Officer said as my brother was hit with this taser and fell to the ground, he had a gun in his hand pointing at the officer, and he was shaking with this weapon. He already allegedly attempted to fire at this officer, which causes this officer to back away, slowly drop his stun gun and his radio, and go for his gun. But before he goes for his gun, he said he stumbles and falls to the ground himself as he drops his radio and his stun gun. And he falls to the ground himself. And at that time, he gets to his knees and he shoots. My brother's put the clip in the gun. At this time, when the officer falls to the ground himself, my brother supposedly putting the clip in the gun, cocking the gun back, and pointing the gun at the officer, attempting. That's when the officer gets on his knees and he fires off the weapon 6 times. I'm going to play this video for you. And you tell me where all that was stated is correct. To the top part of that screen. And we're going to get this going right now for you so you can actually see how my brother was walked down like an animal. Pay attention. All up in here, you're going to see my brother getting chased. You're going to see flashes of a muzzle flashes from a gun, not a taser. Pay attention. So that's 1, 2, 3. Where the gun drop? He's ducking and dodging bullets. Where the gun? He ducked the bullet. He got shot. That's not a taser. He's walking him down. Shot him. That's a flash. That's 4, 5, 6. He's on his knees now. 7. A taser does that? Shoots 3 more times. A taser lets off that many shots? A taser? The officer was chasing him the whole time. At what point in time did you step back and you fell to the ground and you dropped your gun and all that? Where did my brother pick up the pistol in the street? That's all I want to know. Where did my brother point a gun at the officer and attempt to fire? Where did he even make a gesture that even said he had a gun in his hand? That video shows you that my brother he ducked. When he was in the street, he was ducking first because he was ducking from getting shot in the head. I have proof of the wall that was chipped from the bullet that was shot in that area at that time when my brother was ducking in that video from getting shot in the head. And then the next time he looked like he stood up on his toes because he got shot in the groin right there. Now, as he gets shot in the groin, my brother panics and he wants to get away from this officer. This officer is on him like he's hunting something down, like he was in the service out there in the field, hunting down prey. This bozo Frank McKenna says Kamal Flowers was a violent felon who preyed on his own community. What about a serviceman who preyed on his whole country? Let's talk. If anybody wants to talk, let's talk. Officer said a whole bunch of shit. He said he hit my brother with a stun gun, which fell to the ground. After he hit my brother with the stun gun twice, the taser, excuse me. He hits him with the taser twice. He drops to the ground. The whole time in that video shows the officer running and chasing and pursuing my brother. It shows it. When did my brother hit the ground? He hit the ground when he received the second shot from the officer, which the officer didn't even know that killed my brother. There's another video that's out that shows the second officer running down the street and he's looking back like he's trying to see if anybody's coming. And then he reaches down. He reaches in a downward motion. What are you doing reaching downward in a downward motion when the officer stated in another press release that after my brother was shot and dropped to the ground, he commits to perform CPR. So what is the reason for the second officer reaching down, looking around, reaching down? My brother didn't have no gun. The officer said my brother had a gun when he was running around in the street, running away from the officer. The officer said that he pulled out his gun after my brother was hit with the taser twice and dropped. So in the beginning of that whole video, them flashes was from what? The officer had his gun out. No taser. Y'all bugging? Blind man can see that. Blind man can see that. And they think that his family just going to sit back and allow them to just say what they want to say and don't do no research. Like, I am one of them people that does the research. I am one of them people that does the research. So I'm not easily to be fooled. And I'm very hard. I'm very hard to shut up. So thinking that you're going to do any of that is a wrong move. I want y'all to see what's going on, man. It's not no jokes, not no gimmick, nothing, man. We showing y'all truth. I'm showing y'all truth. I'm not showing y'all bozo stuff. I'm showing y'all truth. The truth is, my brother was killed. My brother was murdered. Another flash. Look, like, how is that not murder? Where's the tussle? I'm going to run it back for y'all, just in case y'all didn't see it. Pay close attention now. You're going to see the muzzle flashes. Count the muzzle flashes. When you see them. 1, 2, 3. My brother's in the street running away from being shot at. He's dodging bullets. Look, shot in the groin. He's walking him down with the pistol. Flash. Flash. Looks like the officer was chasing him, right? Officer was chasing him, right? Chasing him, right? So somebody help me out and help me understand what this bozo Philip McKinnon is talking about. There's a lot of murders starting to be solved through this internet. And it's only a matter of time that this murder gets solved too. I'm going to keep talking about this. I'm going to keep exercising my First Amendment right. And I'm going to keep letting these people get mad. They know they killed my brother. Y'all know y'all killed my brother. So what we going to do is we going to keep fighting. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep spreading the message. You see the videos. And you do your own views. If you got any questions, hit me up. I'll politic with you. You want to pull up on the show and I show you the video firsthand? Holla at me. Till then, exercise all your rights. You are the people. You're the strongest people in the world because combined, These politicians don't have no jobs. Till then, love us, kill the hate.